walk through Elephant and Castle to get there. And that changed so much over the kind of 2 months that I was there. This like giant modern water cabin space that they'd built in that kind of area that's getting gentrified got kind of put up and then taken down, and then you can see how much places are changing. I don't know, I think it's like an exterior city thing, and then within my working space I guess I kind of reflect on that. I was making lots of sculpture and I kept rearranging it every day, and then it felt like because I was rearranging it that the objects were taking on a kind of like lifelike quality. So then I started referring to the sculptures as kind of props and like kind of paintings as backdrops, and I just was working in that way, and then it just struck me that drawing from it would be more interesting. And I think I've always been interested in like illusion and then like pushing boundaries of things. So I was making like sculptures with paint on them, so that when does it stop being a painting and start becoming a sculpture? And the same with paper. If you draw a line on it, but then you like cut up a piece of paper, is it then a sculpture? I think I was just quite interested in that like boundary. So then when you start drawing from a sculpture, where does that sit with the sculpture and the drawing? I found that quite interesting. My initial thought with like the whole use of space was that I've got not very much space here, so what I make ends up being in shoeboxes. So just to kind of make the objects from the drawings bigger so that I kind of relate to them in a more like human sense, and then just how I felt drawing from that was the initial kind of thought for the residency, which is why I made the big house. And yeah, just what it would be like to see the edge of the paper but blown up and supported by a wooden structure, and how I would respond to that in a drawing. And I didn't really end up drawing from it that much. I mean, I made some quick sketches, but kind of making it was enough just to like stand inside it or next to it. But yeah, I mean, obviously when I got to the space, as you saw, like loads of the kind of details of the room were just really interesting, and they felt like they were saying the same thing about like shift in function, or like just some kind of weird shift. So then I feel like the work just started responding to the space. I also read that book that everyone at art schools read, but the Flatland book by Abbott, and in that it's a very like a simple, I mean, I don't know if it's good to have it for the recording just about what it is, but it's just the description of a kind of character living in a house in the second dimension. So you get a lot of descriptions of what it's like to encounter the hexagonal houses and kind of entering them as a 3D thing. And I remember I was thinking about that loads. So I wonder if that has played into it in part, but I hadn't really thought about that until now.
But you were also thinking in terms of function, like you took functional elements of the space and you made them into sculptures.
Yeah, that feels like more of a recent thing, that like kind of redundancy when you make something functional in paper. Like even if it looks like something, it's not that. It's not a plug because it's a piece of cardboard and it would never work as a plug, and that's kind of funny. And those sculptures kind of ended as the sculptures. I didn't feel like they needed to be drawn from. They felt like that was the work.
Because we talked a lot about theatre, and we talked about being in the sort of a backstage position regarding the space and functionality. Mm-hmm. And the white space as someone where you go and draw. And I started looking at the space like that. And I started looking at the space, and rather than it being completely neutral because it's white, you highlighted the fact that it's absolutely not neutral.
Everything was really like productive, and everyone has a different reference point for drawing, and it's just so nice to hear other people's references.
What were the differences? Like, what do you think are the bigger differences between us in terms of our relationship to drawing?